Bulavinaka Maloelele. It's Isa from the Talimangimangi podcast with Kia and Isa, and I'm doing the Pasifika Talanoa UK this evening. It's International Women's Day. Oh, our guest is has joined. We're speaking with Veronique
And how are you?
today.
I'm good, thank you. Oh, I'm glad that you I can see you because the last time we did this with Care, I could only see like myself and I couldn't see her. So I had to have like this a screen behind me so I could actually see her because I
Right.
didn't know I know who I was looking at. I was just looking at myself, but I could hear like a voice. But at least this I can actually see.
That's great.
Oh, good, good. Let's try this again. So, welcome. We're just going to wait for people to sort of join the live. Here we go. Um, um, people just joining slowly. And then we're going to start. But yes, if you're just joining us, welcome to the Pasifika Talanoa UK live. This is the second one we're having. We had the first one with Care, and Care and I have a podcast we launched we're launching soon actually, the first episode, but we recorded it last weekend. So it's called Talimangimangi with Care and Isa. But on this platform, on Nijit Consulting, which is a platform that I've had for over 10 years now, I think, I started it when I newly moved to the UK. When I first moved to the UK, I didn't have a job to come to, so I left my job in Fiji, which part of that job I was a translator, an interpreter. So I just continued that as a freelancer when I came, and that's and so this is the kind of the freelance side gig that I was using. Asian consulting, and then I've just had it sort of like I hadn't done anything with it for like the last 2.5 years while I was at uni, and then I'm back. but that's kind of like what this platform is about for those of you who are just joining us for the first time. So Kay and I kind of did like a trial run in February a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, we are blessed to have Veronique join us this evening. She has so graciously accepted our invitation, and on International Women's Day, no less, hashtag Inspire Inclusion. That's the theme for the for this year, 2024. And we're just gonna let Veronique explain who she is. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Veronique, and what brings you to the UK.
Thank you, Louisa, for having me on your platform. It's great to be here. I'm Veronica. I'm from the Solomon Islands. I come from an island called the Malaita province on the southern part. What brings me to the UK is I'm fortunate enough to have a Chevening scholarship to be studying here at the University of Leeds. So I'm currently pursuing my master's on social and public policy here. Thank you.
Okay, so all right, okay. And tell us, Veronica, what was life like? What were you doing really before you came? In sort of like the lead up to you thinking, okay, I can see like there's a scholarship like called the Chevening Scholarship, and I'm going to apply for it and then come to the UK, because as you know, you are very well aware that we have a regional university in the South Pacific, which is called the University of the South Pacific, and I know you would have. Did you do your undergrad there? Yes, is that correct? And then, you know, there's also options to go to New Zealand and Australia. But tell us a little bit about how you got to choose the Chevening scholarship, you know, to apply for, and then actually think to yourself, okay, I'm going to go for that one. I'm going to go for the UK.
Yeah, so after I finished my foundation from 7, I haven't got a scholarship to go to USP. So I started looking for jobs back then. So I started working volunteer jobs, and then started with some research work with the Australian National University. They were conducting a huge research in the Solomon Islands after the aftermath of the regional assistance mission to Solomon Islands, the
Yes.
Ramsey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was doing a little part of their interview. I used to collect data for them, and then after that, I went to Save the Children. Started there as a volunteer program there, and then eventually applied there, and then got a job. Started around there for a few good years there, maybe 5 years, and then I went to the government.
Yeah.
Stayed there for another 2 years, and then after that, I decided to go to do my undergrad. So my husband eventually got a job in Suva, so I left my job back in the Solomons and I traveled with him to Suva. That's when I was just at home, and then being a full-time carer to my daughter, that's when I decided that I think it's time to start doing my undergrad.
Okay.
So I did my undergrad there, and then we came back to the Solomons, started working with the UNICEF. And then after UNICEF, I said, okay, I think it's time to do the last one, and then decide to forget about studies now after this.
That's so true. Yes. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like sometimes you feel like I'm gonna do this the first one, like you do undergrad, and then I think, if you've still got a little bit of motivation, you kind of go, I'm gonna go to the next one.
Yeah.
But this level, I think this is just maybe me. I don't know about you, but I felt like there's a really big leap from undergrad to postgrad, and I kind of just like said after the postgrad one, oh yeah, I'm not gonna do this anymore. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. I think that's the feeling. I think with regards to you were asking me about why not New Zealand and
Yes,
Australia.
Australia.
I think I decided for the Chevening scholarship because it's a 1-year program, and
Okay.
I think compared New Zealand, with all due respect to New Zealand and Australia, I think the academic level here in the UK is what's drawn me here.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
standard, and the academic rigor here. So I decided to try Chevening, and I came here, and the program was pretty intense, but fingers crossed we'll get there. We are in the middle of the semester now, going towards the last final 5 months.
Okay. And the time's gone by very quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah, time flew by actually.
Yeah, like you know
Yeah.
what is I thought, when before prior to sort of doing my postgrad myself, I didn't think much about the way the education is structured here, especially starting in September and finishing like in June. But since I started, I don't know about you, the way whether you see it that way. For me, doing it from January to November or February to November seems much longer. When you do it from like halfway through one year to another year, it just goes really quickly.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's the psychology they put it behind the international students, so that time just flew by, because we just after Christmas the days are just running.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I know you said a little bit there, with your respect to Australia and New Zealand academic institutions, like the academic conventions here are much different, and the standards of academic rigor, like you so rightly put, is much higher. It's much more intense. Um, and you worked with ANU, like you said, before you even went to do your undergrad. You were doing some research work for them. Um, how much more intense do you think it is? Like even compared with, because I think you between your, if I'm correct, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but between your undergrad and your postgrad now is a much shorter journey. So you would know, you would really feel it. Because for me, my undergrad and my postgrad was like 20 years apart. So I felt it even more. But for you, like just the standards, I guess you could speak to, how much more intense is it for you here in the UK?
Yeah, I think for me here in the UK, with regards to, I choose Leeds because it is part of the Russell Group of
Yeah.
universities here in the UK. So there are a lot of formative assignments that came in with the original assignments. And here in the UK, with regards to my course, the dissertation plus the course modules, they are going in parallel. So you're actually going to classes to do your course modules to get the 118 credits. Plus on the side, you're also concentrating on your dissertation. So you are also having your dissertation on the side and you're having your modules on the side. So it's like two programs running in parallel. So when you're going to class, you also having the hang of your dissertation on the side because you're always constantly in communications with your supervisor with regards to your dissertations and all these meetings that you have to attend to be able to have your credit courses done.
Yeah, that's true. So it seems really intensified because you're kind of like doing two things at a time. I just wanted to just sort of ask you about this one thing in particular when we're talking about, especially the UK program for doing a master's being 1 year. Do you think like for us in the region, because you know the sort of like the Western nations, Australia and New Zealand, they offer a bit longer programs. Do you think for you, the 1 year, you know, it being a sort of like a condensed into 1 year program is makes it more attractive to you, like, you know, that you're not going to come and spend, because undergrad is already like quite a long program. It's 3 years. If you're doing an honors, it's 4 years. Do you think that's part of the attraction, I guess, like for us when we come to this side of the world?
Yes, I think that's one of the huge attractions for me because I have a family back home. So I think considering the amount of time that I could do my master's in a year, I think I mean, before I came, I was thinking about it. Should I go? Should I not go? But my family was like, it's just a year, just take it. If it's 2 years, then we'll think about it. But I think the 1 year program, even though intense, it's quite attractive for people who have commitment and things like that to actually to pursue this one.
Okay. And with your, you know, with your journey here through the Chevening Scholarship, then, Veronica, how are you finding sort of life outside of uni? Have you had much interaction, I guess, with the environment that you're in Leeds? I'm a little bit familiar with Leeds. We used to be posted there. When I first moved to the UK, we stayed in Catterick, which is a camp just, you know, like about 45 minutes drive to Leeds. And I actually did my initial training. My first job here was I worked in the bank, and my training to work in the bank, because I never worked in a bank before, was actually in Leeds.
Wow.
So I have quite fond memories of Leeds. But how are you finding everything else outside of the academic sort of aspect of the Chevening journey?
Oh yeah. With regards to, I think the location is brilliant because we are just a few stops outside from the countryside of the UK when you're in Leeds. Yeah. So and I have a lovely small circle of friends where we plan trips to take out of Leeds. So I think that is a good balance for you being at the academic side in the whole week, and then on the weekends you sort of like take a trip with your friends and visit the little towns outside of Leeds, the countryside, for example, York, and we're planning Knaresborough tomorrow, so we're looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather permits.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's great. Yeah. And is it within your program, or I guess like what I'm like trying to get at is, you know, like when you're in an international student, you're in like sort of a country like the UK where you wouldn't even sort of find perhaps a Solomon Islands community near you. You know, where where do you make your friends? Where would you make your friends? Like in your program, or would it be like other Chevening scholars, or yeah.
Yeah, so basically, most of my friends are from my courses. Yes, because we almost met every time when we went for lectures,
Right.
and we are also much into the same groups in the seminars. So it's like the same sort of people that hang around each other all the time. So we get to see each other and talk more often. So yeah, we get along pretty well. Yeah.
Oh, good. And what about other Pacific Islanders in Leeds? Have you seen any?
I'm quite fortunate. One of my countrymen is married to a lady here from Leeds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they lived not far from here, just beside the Leeds stadium. So I used to visit them sometimes, and they come here, and they've been a very good part of my settling down here at Leeds,
Oh,
making me
great.
feel quite at home. Yeah. So, but apart from that, I haven't met any other Pacific Islanders in the uni. So
Okay.
yeah, I think
Okay.
it's just me
There, there could
there.
poss- there could possibly be some undergraduate students there. I would venture maybe Fijian students, because I know there's a lot of our Fijian students now, sort of like the next generation in their late teens, early 20s, who are in the universities around the country, who have been raised here, some of them born here,
Mm,
who are making their way through universities now. But it's one of the things that we've decided with the women's organization that I'm a part of, Marama Alliance UK, um, and Think Pacific. Think Pacific is like a voluntary organization. Like they take students to Fiji, and I think they just started taking students to Bali this year. But they take them to, the break between the summer break between the semesters, the years actually, the academic years. So they take them to Fiji. They give them an opportunity to go and stay with a host family in a village, and then really like impacts the local village where they're in, whether it's by teaching, a class, or building a school or a library or something like that. But anyway, Marama Alliance and Think Pacific, we decided, we got Think Pacific to help us start the first, Pacifica Students network here, which we're in the middle of founding and getting students to really connect. And I don't know about, I can't speak to other parts of the world, but I found, I don't know about you, that wherever I go, even if, like you here in the UK, but I went, say, for example, for my undergrad in New Zealand, I tend to look for the Pacific Islanders first, like my community kind of thing.
mm,
And when I'm settled there, then I start to make, other connections with international students from other parts of the country, New Zealand, and things like that. And when it's a country like UK, where there's not that many of us, it can be quite difficult. Wouldn't you
mm.
agree?
Yes, I think that's I we had this Chevening orientation. That's where
Yeah,
I met all the Pacific Islanders. So
yeah.
it was a good meet and greet where we connect and then exchange contacts. But we are all scattered around the country, and then yeah, for me here in Leeds, I haven't met any Pacific Islander in my university yet. I'm hopefully. I was on the lookout almost every day to actually see if there's an islander, but I haven't until now. But yeah, there are other Pacific Islanders in Manchester, and yeah,
Yeah,
and yeah,
close enough to you.
both
Yeah,
sides to
yeah.
me. Yeah,
Hmm.
so yeah, planning to visit them soon. But it's a good network to actually meet them here before the semester start,
Mm,
to actually have the feel of home and the Pacific Islanders here. So
yeah.
being far away from home.
That's right. And I think for me as well, being part of the Pacific Island community here in the UK, to be that kind of base
Mm,
for the international students that are coming, because over the last couple of years that I've been here in the UK, I have had, I think now, 4 or 5 friends who have come, like almost every single year. There's someone I know that is coming, mostly from Fiji, but one year there was one from Samoa, a girl from Samoa that came, and I had done my undergrad with her in New Zealand. That's how I knew her.
mm,
Um, and and like I feel like it's important for us as Pacific Islanders, wherever we are, to reach out and connect with the Pacific Island students who are here. Like, you're quite blessed in a roundabout sort of way, because it's only a short time, but some places they'll be like there for like 3, 4 years, especially
mm,
if they're doing their undergrad.
mm.
And it can be like quite an isolating time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, yeah, indeed. I think for us here for us being Pacific Islanders here, I think we are so small, so we tend to reach out quickly to help us settle down. And I think the community here is really lovely, because when I just arrived, I was invited to go to the Solomon Island community here is not big. You can
Okay.
literally count how many are in some of the other counties. So
Ah,
I was invited to go and meet with them for a Talanoa, and so it was a good start for me.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and imagine, I always find that very like fascinating, but I guess it's because of how close we are as a community. Because in the UK there's like 60 plus million people, and for
Mm.
us to be able to connect across these countries is always amazing to me. And I guess other people, non-Pacific Islanders, I guess from other communities, they always find that fascinating. And like as a Fijian with the Fijian community here, people always ask me, oh, like, do you know this person? And even if I don't know them, I might, like when you do the 6 degrees of separation, I'll probably just do 1 degree of separation, and I'll find, I'll find out who they are
Yes.
connected.
Yeah.
It's that small.
Yeah, I think that's a culture that we must not lose. We have to embrace it. Like even if we go out of the Pacific, we always find each other. And to me, I think that's a lovely way of us connecting. Even though we are far away from home, we always look out for each other far away from home. So I think that's a good base for us when we go outside. It helps with us settling down, and also the feeling of home, being one, because back home, our culture, we are always together. And
Yes,
yeah, so I think it's a good thing coming here, and then that is not lost, but we still actually find each other and connect in so many levels.
yeah.
Mm.
And for you as not only a Solomon Islander but a Pacific Islander in Leeds with your group of friends right now who are non-Pacific Islanders, what have you kind of like taught them, or you've brought from your region, I guess, from the South Pacific to them, like that they can, because like I don't know about you, but people tend to say, like, oh, like, why like you're wearing like so colorful things, or it's a nice earring, or and then we always have like a story about a whole story about it.
Yeah. So I used to wear this teki teki
Yeah,
to class, and then my friends usually asked a lot about the teki teki, the meaning of it, and all this stuff. So I used to tell them about the story of the flowers. Like before, there was no ring, so people used the teki teki to actually identify if they are married or if they are not married. Yeah. So um, the story of the Pacific, yeah, is based around the teki tekis that I'm wearing to class. So yeah,
yeah,
that's the main story that everyone is intrigued by. So, yeah, majority of my friends knew about the story of the Teki Teki, and then um,
yeah.
the little cultures where we come from, but they are mostly Asians from the Asian region.
Okay.
So we share a lot of similarities with regards to connection to families and a
Yeah,
strong cultural background and things like that. So I think that's where we also connect a lot.
yeah, yeah. And also with the teki teki as well, I always think, because anyone can wear a flower, like on like their head somewhere, but there's always something different about the Pacific Islanders. They always wear it on their ear,
Yeah.
like, and they wear it really well.
Mm.
Like I've seen people who've worn it, maybe like in the side of their hair or in their hair like this. Like sometimes I wear, but you can always kind of tell the Pacific Islanders always wear it nicely, like tucked in their ear, and it will never fall off, even if they're like laughing or doing other things.
Yeah, I think because back home we usually wear the real ones.
Flowers,
Yeah,
yes.
the real flowers. I think that's where the practice started. So we don't tend to drop them where we're going.
That's so true. Yes. Now, what plans do you have now? Like after the UK, like after you finish from here, like what are your plans to going back to the Solomon Islands, like, or maybe like something that you've seen here that um back home you might want to go and start to do or to create or to just impact your local community from the things that you've seen in the UK in the short time even so far that you've been here?
I think going back, my plans for going back, maybe I was planning, I mean, my short-term goals is to go back and continue working, maybe with UNICEF, if they still have a room for me there. Yeah, maybe continue to champion the spaces that I work with at UNICEF on children's rights and social policy. And one thing that I see here that I wanted to bring back from the UK is the book club.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a very good initiative for children back home with regards to education. I think
Yeah.
that's a brilliant initiative
Yeah.
where to encourage children to read, because you know in the Pacific Islanders, in the Pacific, our literacy is quite low.
Yeah.
So I think, I think the book club is one of the things that I see where we can like assimilate it back at home for our children.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. And do you see, like the time, I guess, has changed quite a lot. People are now digital. There's even like digital readers. And like for me, I'm quite bad at it. Like my excuse is, oh, I'm reading anyway. I'm like reading things on the internet. Um, but I understand. Like I understand what you mean by that because I, my research was in the language, in English language specifically. But my journey was always been, I learned to speak English quicker when I was reading. With regards to literacy, do you think in the islands there's a specific way we can perhaps make it more popular for children or make it more, I guess, attractive?
Yeah, I think because I've seen the book clubs here, they actually go with characters. Yeah.
Right.
So I think making that that character into it or that vibe into it actually will bring out the curiosity of children to ask more questions surrounding the characters that they are playing towards the book club. Yeah. So for example, I saw children dressing up like Moana with their book club.
All right.
Yeah,
Yes.
so like these are characters from the Pacific, and they tell a story of how we as women can be chief in our communities,
Yeah.
can be leaders in our communities. So I think these are the conversations that should come out of the characters to actually help our children to actually see that these are some of the things that we should be embracing in our culture and in the characters that we read in the books.
Yeah. And not just like books that we need to, like books that are assigned for us to read.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yes. Like whether it's like, through formal education, which most of the time growing up, that's how they did it in the islands, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, yeah. Yeah. Because even for me, I'm always conscious that I do want to read more, like even as an adult, because in language, they say that, um, your vocabulary, if you want to be able to express yourself more clearly or even communicate better, then you should always constantly be reading. And I know university master's students have a lot of reading to do.
That's our life,
not,
basically.
not the kind that you want to do, but the one that you have to do.
Yeah. The ones that they will ask questions about it, so you have to.
Yes. I'm well aware of that. Okay. So that's it's nice to hear that, like you've got already thinking about short-term things that you want to do. You're kind of picking up on things here that you think would be really like useful back home. And like I had a conversation today with a PhD student who is going to go and do some of his research in Fiji, and we were trying to figure out kind of like a reciprocity process, sort of like, okay, if you're going to go and do your research in Fiji, then what are you going to give the Fijian people, or like the village or wherever he's going to go. And then that kind of like is related to what you said, like, you're here. What is it that this country that is going to educate you to this certain level with this much academic rigor? What can you take back that you can sort of like share with your colleagues or your villages or your homes even, and your children? And I like that kind of thing, especially for Pacific Islanders when we're quite mobile, like we're traveling here, going back home, and things like that. Now, Veronica, I'm just gonna switch our conversation a little bit. I was meaning to ask you, so your perspective is someone who's here for a short time when you're going back, whereas I've been here now for like more than 10 years. And do you have any sort of like, I guess, advice to our children that are coming up now through university about this path, about, not just doing like an undergraduate degree, possibly going further than we did, like our generation?
Yeah, I think my advice would be, just don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Be inspired. Be inspired by your passion. Be inspired by your dreams. Don't limit yourself. The world is your oyster. Just believe in yourself and then go for it.
Yeah.
And I think one thing is that when children who are coming up along this path, I think it's important that you find a mentor or someone that you can always look up to for guidance or for advice. There are many mentors around you who want to see you grow, who want to see you success, who want to see your success. So reach out, and then mentors are people who see that if you are really into what you're doing, if you are willing and all these things, they are always there to help. So do reach out, discuss with them your plans, your priorities, whatever, so that they can be able to actually guide and help you move along this path.
Yes. Thank you very much for that, Veronica. So what about your how is your family sort of like communicating with you during this time? Have you been, like, it's so much, communication is so much better now, right? You can like video call and it's like free, whereas like 10-15 years ago it's like you have to use a card to call from the telephone booth, and it would be so expensive. So has that helped you with the settling in, and because sometimes you be worrying about your family and things like that?
Yes, I think with regards to how easy technology is nowadays, I came here and I was gobsmacked with how people are so advanced in technology and things like that. So yeah, that was really helpful for me to call back home, see my children, and then my loved ones back home. So technology really helped. So I talk to them almost every day. So
That helps. That really helps.
that really helps. There are times when I I told them I want to go home, but they were like, well, we see each other every day, but we see each other every day, so there's no point coming home. Just complete it before you come back. So, but as time goes on, you kind of feel of missing home and missing your children. But some things we have to learn to adapt by.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. And we're resilient people in the Pacific. Like
Indeed.
we've done bigger things than this, and I guess to like to your point, like I was just going to say, when you said that there's a certain point, right? Like you're kind of like excited when you come, and then kind of when you start to settle in, it starts at some point it turns to like, right, I've had enough of this. I want to go.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah. That I think that happens during the festive holidays when you just miss home so much and your families. Yeah, but you just have to. Yeah, you just have to, like you said, we are resilient people, so we just have to carry on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you've just given me an idea there as well, Veronica, because the Chevening scholars, even I guess the Commonwealth scholars who come to the UK, they come in September, and then very quickly it's like the holidays. And I guess, like, as the Pacific Island community here in the UK, perhaps just like reaching out to the like the local universities and asking, like maybe the international office if there are like Pacific Island students who are there, and invite them to come home for the holidays for, of course, the food on a Christmas on a Christmas day, because we certainly have the capacity to do it. It's just about connecting, ourselves to the students that are here, like perhaps looking at a better way of kind of like organizing that link. And I guess the Pacifica Students UK network is going to be a start to doing that, because eventually I do want an alumni network as well to come up, because the alumni is going to not only be full of people from here, the Pacific Islands people here who live here now and who are growing up here and going to uni, but also Pacifica people like yourselves and Keasi who have come here to do a higher degree and then gone back home, and to keep that connection, because it's not the closest place, it's not like New Zealand and Australia where it's close by, it's quite far, but that the links will remain, throughout the years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a very good idea for the alumni, because we were discussing that the Pacifica students here, we are discussing that, but I think there is a certain criteria in each university that you have to have a number in order for you to have an
That's right.
association. Yeah,
Yes.
so we can't do that because we are scattered everywhere. So
Yes.
so I think that's a good idea for, what you came up with, to have that alumni, even though we are not from the same university, but actually we can connect at some levels here in the UK to actually, even if we go back home, like that relationship is still there, and we can collaborate and help more islanders when they come here.
Yes.
For studies and things like that.
Yes. So prepare them in country, and then and then people who are here to receive them and help them settle in, and especially through the difficult period, like you said, which is around Christmas, when people kind of miss their families, and because everyone in uni actually goes home as well, like the local students. I guess it's just a need for the universities to kind of maybe address that during that period, because it's not only like us as specific islanders, but other international students as well. Who will find themselves like in university at that period, because everyone's gone home to their families and they're stuck here. Because like students from Europe, I guess, are close by. They would probably try and go home, but for us, it's not that easy, and it's not that straightforward. Definitely, that's a good idea. But the alumni one, I do want to.
I think the alumni would be really helpful, because I remember before coming here, I had to reach out to a girl in Tonga. She used to be here at the University of Leeds. So I reached out to her to ask some just basic questions regarding accommodations and where to get stuff.
So it'll be good to have the alumni, because then you can just reach into the alumni and someone.
Yes, you can reach for support in the alumni. I had to go to the Chevening web page in Tonga to find her.
Okay.
And then I reached out to her to ask for advice with regards to the University of Leeds, the accommodation, the shops that students usually go to. Where just little things.
You're quite lucky in Leeds. They've got like, have you been to the Leeds market?
Yes.
They've got like food from from the Caribbean.
They got good fish there and cassava.
Yes. So you're in like one of the better places with access to that. Yes. But I just, when you said that, I just remember that the first year I moved here, 2012, there was actually a gentleman from Papua New Guinea that was at the University of Leeds, and he was finishing, right? Because I got here in April, and he would have been finishing that year, but I went to Waikato University with him. That's how I knew him. But I wasn't sure like what the Chevening scholarship was about and all this, yeah. And then later on over the years I've had some more friends come, and then I remembered, oh, this is what that guy was talking about when he was here in the UK, because it was very quick, because it was like saying that he was finishing and going back home, and I was thinking, how long is this program?
Yeah, so yeah, I think the alumni program is a good one if we embarked on it.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
I think we should do that this year as well, because I like, even for you guys who are here at the moment, by kind of like November time, you are already alumni, like you would finished
Yeah,
already.
we're going
Yeah,
home.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. So it's good to have like to sort of capture you all while you're here, and then kind of have it, because there are people here as well, like for example in the Fijian community, who have been here as part of the military, who have gone through the military career, and they've done like their studies during, like while they were working, and so they're also out of universities, so they would be more interested in the alumni network as well. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. But yeah, so what about dissertation? Tell us a little bit about that. What's your focus for the research? What are you looking at for your research?
Yeah, so for my dissertation, I'm planning on to see, I'm looking at the implementation of because my background working with Save the Children and UNICEF is basically around children.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm gearing my dissertation towards that, because the time period is really short. I wanted to take something with regards to Pacific regionalism, but that is quite outside of my scope, and I need to do a lot of reading and things like that to actually capture Pacific regionalism. So I decided to go with what I am already doing, so that it can be. I have knowledge, and I have walked around that area, so I think
Right.
it would be
Yes.
easy for me to capitalize on that. So I'm looking at the implementation of the Convention of the Rights of the Child. In the Pacific, I want to look at the dynamics of how religion and culture came into play with that Human Rights Convention. So yeah, I think it would be interesting to see around that, because in the Pacific, how religion and culture is quite clash with such conventions. So I just want to explore that dynamic, and then to see what can we do more for our context to actually implement it with the culture and the religion in place, so that it can be more accepting for people.
Yes. Yeah. That's quite an important thing, and to look at. And it's interesting that you said that, because a lot of the things that we get, kind of like the UN conventions and things like that, we kind of have to adapt to our own context, right? Yeah,
Yes.
because it's just, I always think like, who wrote these things?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess that's like a challenge for us then, to get to that level, that we'll be able to, like, impact it at that level, that when these conventions, the strategic development goals, the SDGs, when these things are written, that it has kind of like some context from outside of the world. Yeah, that's quite interesting, and I look forward to like reading your research. Just lastly, I guess I just wanted to touch on, for those who may be watching this later on, other Pacific Islanders who are thinking, especially in the Pacific right now, we're thinking, okay, I do want to go to the UK. I want to be like I want to go for the Chevening program and go and study in the UK. Tell us a little bit about how supportive your university is with regards to studies, because we mentioned at the very beginning, it is quite intense. But what I wanted to ask is, do you get enough support to kind of like manage this intensity when studying here, being so far away from home? and the academic conventions being so different?
Yeah, I think for me here at the University of Leeds, I remember I arrived here at the end of September, and just after week 5, I was already assigned a supervisor. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Like a dissertation
So
supervisor?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Just after 5 weeks, I was already assigned a dissertation supervisor, and at week 6, I already had my first meeting with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's quite quick. Yeah, that's very quick.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's very quick. So so I think that actually helped me settle down. I have
Oh,
somebody,
good.
yeah, I have
Yeah.
somebody that I can always go to for advice, and just
Yeah.
Talanoa and chat.
Yeah.
And there was and I think the School of Social Policy and Sociology had a lot of lecturers who we were taught by a lot of different lecturers and different
Mm-hmm.
professors. So we knew a lot of the staff from our faculties.
Good.
So, and they are so welcoming, and they have this open door where you can easily walk in, and then,
Okay.
yeah, just Talanoa. And I think one thing I want to highlight is the library skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, the library skills. I think they have classes almost every day online. So it's just up to you if you are free to um, different classes with regards to referencing,
Yeah.
academic writing,
Yeah.
critical
Yeah.
thinking, all these things that comes with academia. So I
Okay.
think these are some of the resources that are out there where you can easily tap into. There's lots of resources. It's just us. It's just us who need to reach out.
Yeah. Yeah. So there is well, the university or the academic institution um, provides the opportunities for you to actually upskill yourself, or
Mm,
actually like equip yourself to succeed in this. And I had this discussion. I don't know if you agree, but I had this discussion with a friend of mine. I think it was last year or the year before, about one of the things that stuck in my mind when I started like my own postgrad journey is that whole thing about autonomous. Like there's a lot of emphasis on being autonomous, meaning it's really up to
you.
you. Like it's really up to me. Yeah, like no one's going to chase me about anything. I had a really great supervisor. She could see the way that I worked and things, and so she asked me if I wanted her to chase me, and I said yes, especially towards like I think it was the last sort of like 4 weeks, I think, till deadline, and I said yes. Could she chase me every single week, like as an accountability partner? Because
Yes,
I tend to just like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm gonna just like I've got enough time, and then really run out of time. So she was really good like that, and I think, like you said, they support there. We need to ask for it, and we're not very good at asking for help.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's one bit about us Pacific Islanders. We don't always ask. We are always in our shell, but when you come to this kind of these universities, these people, they expect you to come forward.
Yes.
When you don't come forward, the way you do come forward, they will assume that, oh, she's doing
Everything
fine,
is
she's
fine.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think just making use of all the open door policy of. Because these professors and these lecturers, they always have an open door policy for you to go in on the hours that they put out when they are free. So just make use of that. Make use of that. I think those open door hours. I think not many of us, like us Pacific Islander students here, we made use of that. I think it's just this. Their own students here, because
Yeah.
they are always
They used
asking questions.
to it.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
it. So I
Hmm.
think they are the ones taking advantage of this. But I think when we come out to um, this huge platform and this level of education, I think we need to make use of these opportunities that are there for free.
Yeah.
Once when we are with them now, because back home we will be just online, going to this online research, to
Yes.
Gesto and to
Yes.
all these academic sites, Google Scholar. But when you're here in the universities, you have a face-to-face Talanoa with these lecturers. So I
Yes.
think Yeah, I think that's the thing
Yeah.
that we should take
I think
advantage of.
that's a really, yeah, that's right. That's a really important
Yeah.
point. Like you said, like with all, they do have the classes, but even then the classes which are run online are still live classes. They're not like pre-recorded or anything like that. So you do
Yeah.
have the opportunity to like ask
Ask
questions
questions.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And then like you said, when there's tutorial times, like, because I did my postgrad as a distance learner. So, my lectures were recorded. So I did it over like, part-time. My lectures were recorded, but the tutorial times, they were live. Like we were given, I think, twice as much tutorial time because we were not, not face-to-face contact. And that's to support us, to really like ask for support and make use of the tutorial times that we are given to really just, I guess, um, um, dissect the readings or the lectures because it goes at quite a quick pace, doesn't it?
Mm.
I mean, 1 year is a short time, and there's a lot of things you need to do in 1 year.
Mm. Yeah, and for us here, I think some of our professors are also the authors of the book, the
Of
authors
the
of the
text,
readings. Yeah.
right? Yeah,
So when they are in class, in the seminars or in the tutorials, it is the only time that you can have a face-to-face with them. So when you ask these questions to them, you are getting first-hand info.
yes,
Yeah. So I think it is so good to actually like know your professors, and then if they are part of the readings for your seminars or for your tutorials, just get those first-hand info. It will be
yeah,
really, really helpful.
yeah. Really take advantage of the
Yeah.
expertise that
Yes.
you have at your fingertips. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that leads on to just keeping those connections. Like you had mentioned when we were talking about the setting up of the alumni, actually like keeping those networks still active after you leave university.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the main reason why I also choose Chevening, because of the big platform that it has. There's lots of alumni, and then the networking bit when you leave after,
yeah,
you get to connect with people in your field, the brilliant minds of the professors that you leave behind at the university. Even though when
yeah,
you go outside from the university, but you still have that connection to always come back to when you need help. So I think this is a good base when you're at the university. Build that relationship, so that when you go out, when you hit a brick wall, you always come back.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Well, Veronica, thank you so much for your time this evening. And we are coming to the end of it. We've got about 4 minutes before we go off the live. Was there anything else that you wanted to share about your journey, maybe that will encourage someone who's possibly thinking about one, applying for the Chevening scholarship, and two, maybe someone out there who doesn't have an issue with applying, but maybe thinking about, I don't think I can travel that far from, like the region, because it's so far away. It's literally on the other side of the world when you come to the UK. What can you tell us today that would encourage someone, our young people, or maybe that man or that woman that's thinking of a career change, or maybe going for the next, like we talked about, the next level, and is thinking about coming to the UK to get that level of expertise, training, I guess.
Yeah, I think my advice would be, don't be afraid of change. And then at some point, we have to come out of our comfort zone, because that's where growth is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
agree.
growth happens. Yeah, growth happens when you come out of your comfort zone. So don't be afraid of change. Maybe that change or coming out of your comfort zone is the change that you're waiting for.
Yeah,
So take the leap of faith and then go forward. And then if you don't make it in the first round of the Chevening or the second round, there's a wise saying that there's always a wise saying that tomorrow is another day. Try again. So have that mantra going on. Yeah, always try again, always learning, and then just believe in yourself, and then take a leap of faith.
Yeah, that is so true, because I know from the conversation with Cassie as well that it is quite a competitive. It's a prestigious scholarship and very competitive. Thousands of people apply for it every year. So you heard it from this platform there, from Cassie the last time we had it, and from Veronica today. If it's if it doesn't happen the first time, just dust yourself off and go for the second time, and keep going. If it's something that you really think that you're gonna you want to get, then just be persistent again. Be persistent, and don't be afraid. There, like Veronica said, don't be afraid of change, because growth happens when you stretch. These kind of like stretch assignments where you think like, yeah, it's gonna be really tough, because sometimes when we think that sounds tough and you don't want to do it.
Indeed.
Yeah. But thank you so much for your time, Veronica. I know I'm hoping that I would get to meet you in person. Leeds is not too far from Scotland. Sometime this year, before you go back, before you return to your family in the Solomon Islands and to your work in your country and in the region, the Pacific region. And keep an eye out for that alumni association. We're going to get it started so that you can join before you leave, and connect with those that are incoming this September. And if someone is coming to Leeds, you can actually like tell them then, okay, you can go to the Leeds market and buy cassava, and don't worry about it. The food is there. You just take yourself. Yeah. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you to our listeners this evening on International Women's Day, with the theme of
Happy
inspiring
International
inclusion.
Women's Day.
Yes, with inspiring inclusion, and we want more Pacific Islanders in this side of the world come and go to the universities or even work. So, I'm gonna tell you something. I know one person, actually, one of my friends. He's a former Chevening scholar. He went back home to Fiji and he returned, and he works here now. Yeah. So yes, this is don't be afraid of this being a big, like a country that's so far away, and like the standards of education is so high. It's like tough or something like that. We can do it. In the Pacific region, we can do it. We can get to that point where we'll be the ones writing the conventions and the rights and things. And yeah, definitely. Thank you, Kelsey. Happy International Women's Day to you too. And Veronica, thank you very much for your time. And we hope to meet, like I said, again in person. But join us next time on the Nation Consulting platform. And Veronica, I'll let you say goodbye, and then we'll finish.
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming and listening to me and Louisa. Thank you, Louisa and Nation Consultancy, for having me on this platform to have a lovely Talanoa about, personal stories about this journey, and then the way forward. I wish you all the best for this weekend and then the new week. Thank you, and then God bless.
Naka, God bless.
Naka.
Thank you. Have a good
Yeah.
night, everyone.